Okay, in today's video, we're taking a little bit of a turn. We're switching gears a little bit. We're going to the New Testament as we've been in the Old Testament for the other 5 videos of this series. The other 5 videos were on Old Testament people, Noah, Sarah and Abraham, Moses, David, and Jonah. And by all means, that's not all of the people, but it's just a few of them, more of the more familiar ones that we all know. And we've been spending some time and we looked at their moments of trouble and brokenness that they had, and God still used them in a big way. And we're going to look at a few New Testament people, not as many as the Old Testament, and we're going to look at more of them in one video than we have in the Old Testament as well. But I also wanted to say something. We're having a special Easter video series coming April 14th through the 16th, so that's coming in a few weeks. But today we're going to look at the woman at the well. I've always found this story fascinating because it comes right after Jesus' baptism, and he didn't really have to be where he was, but he was there anyway. So the Bible tells us in John chapter 4, verses 4 through 6, now he had to go through Samaria. So when he came to a town in Samaria, near the plot of ground Jacob had given his son Joseph, Jacob's well was there. And Jesus, tired from his journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. So, first of all, Jesus didn't have to go through Samaria. It's been kind of studied that he went out of his way to go here to see this lady. And he was there intentionally. He wanted to see her. So, as he kind of sits there and waits, people coming and going from the well. But it was about noon, as it said. So they have a conversation. This lady shows up, and they have a conversation a little bit. And he's talking back and forth to her, and she wants to know about. He mentions living water, and she wants to know more about this water. And she doesn't want to have to keep coming to the well. She's like, "Give me this water. I don't want to go thirsty. I don't want to have to keep coming here. Give me this, and I'll be just fine." So they talk a little bit, but then he tells her, "Go and call your husband and come back." "I have no husband," she replied. Jesus said to her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is you have had 5 husbands, and the man you have now is not your husband. What you've said is quite true." So now we start to kind of see why she was there at noon and why Jesus was there. Jesus was sitting there at this time because he knew she was coming alone. You see, you didn't go to the well at noon. This well was in the bright sunshine. It was hot. You didn't go there at noon. You came in the morning or in the evening in the cools of the day, so it wasn't so hot. She went at noon because no one else was there, and she was kind of the town joke. She was kind of the town person that just kind of made a whole bunch of mistakes, and people probably made fun of her and poked fun of her. "Look at her, there she goes." And so she was kind of like the laughing stock of the town. So she went there to be alone. She went there to stop everything and just. So they continue their conversation. They have a little bit more talk. And as they talk, she kind of starts to realize, and she talks to him pretty much about himself. She's like, "Hey, we're trying to talk about this Messiah. We believe he's coming," and all of that. And so they talk a little bit, but then he concludes with her that she needs to go back to town. And she goes running back into town, and she starts shouting like, "This man, he knew everything that I've ever done. Everything. He told me everything. This man must be the Messiah." Then it says in John chapter 4, again verse 39, "Many of the Samaritans from that town believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me everything that I ever did." So when the Samaritans came to him, they urged him to stay with them, and he stayed 2 days. And because of his word, many more became believers. They said to the woman, "We no longer believe just because of what you said. Now we have heard for ourselves, and we know this man is really the Savior of the world." So through her little time, through this little conversation that she has, and I didn't go into the details of the conversation because the conversation wasn't. It's important, but not for what I'm trying to talk about in this video. And at one point, the disciples come back, and first of all, Jesus was talking to a woman, and that was like a crazy thing. And they kind of come back and like, "He's talking to a woman. Why?" And so he kind of talks to them for a little bit while the woman's gone, and then the woman comes back, and that's what we just read. But this whole thing is that Jesus went out of his way. Psalm 34:18 tells us that he's close to the people who are hurting, close to the people that are broken. And Jesus came out of his way, stayed 2 days, right after being baptized, to meet with this Samaritan woman, so she could kind of see that she does kind of have a purpose and she does have a way. And those people could have thought she was crazy. Those people could have thought that she was out of her mind and just like saying things. She met this random, oh, she met another guy. So, but they didn't. They believed, and many people came to know Jesus because of her. So God used her in her moment of weakness and brokenness, and used her to lead many people to Jesus.